although he's the weakest candidate, you have people who are, I would say, shielding for Joe Biden, wouldn't you say? Let's go to the article. This is from Robert. How do you say his name? Reich. You have people who, regardless of how bad Joe Biden is doing, regardless if he's committing a genocide in Palestine, regardless if he leaned on the Senate parliamentary not to bring a minimum wage increase, regardless if he's pushing for war in Israel, with China, with Ukraine, regardless of all of that, you have people like Robert, who's part of the Clinton administration, who's saying things and writing articles like this. The "I won't vote for the lesser of two evil" rubbish. So I'll read a snippet from his article here. Is along the right-hand side. Actually, I guess I can make this full. So I'll read a little bit. This is from the article. And maybe I'll read just a little bit here. By not voting or voting for a third party, they're actually casting a vote for Trump. Some respond by saying that Trump may be cursed, but they're sick and tired of voting for the lesser of two evils. So I'm going to pause here. So actually, no, let me read on because he makes the point without me having to make it. He makes it right away. Wrong. Biden is not evil. Trump is truly evil. So I'll pause here. So Robert is saying, no, this is not the lesser of two evils. You have a choice between truly evil, and then you have a choice between a good guy. So good guys support genocides now, Robert. That's what happens. And Robert is a progressive. That's what he calls himself. That's how he markets himself, as a progressive. But let's continue with the article. If there's one argument I can't stand, this is him talking, it's the, quote, "I'm not going to vote for the lesser of two evils" argument. The fact is, America has a two-party system. You may not like it, but that's our reality. What is this on my screen? I can't see that. The founders did not opt for a parliamentary system where citizens have more options of whom to vote for. So one of the nominees from one of the two major parties is going to win. And if you don't vote, or you vote for a third party candidate, you're inevitably hurting the candidate from one of the major parties who's closest to you in values. I'm sorry. Donald Trump wants a Muslim ban and would commit the same genocide. And Joe Biden doesn't want the Muslim ban and wants a genocide. I'm sorry. Neither of those positions are closest to me. They're not. A person who says, I'm going to veto Medicare for all isn't a person whose ideology is closest to mine. A person who wants to fund Nazis in Ukraine isn't a person whose ideology is closest to mine. Let's continue. Where did I leave off? And if you... Okay, so I didn't read it all here, but I'll finish it out. From one of the major parties who's closest to you in values and helping the one furthest from you, which perhaps wasn't a huge consequence 50 years ago. But as the Republican Party has gone fascist with unhinged Trump as its head, the potential consequences of your not voting or voting for a third party candidate are horrific. What's happening in Gaza is horrific. What you're describing, Robert, is not. And he's saying 50 years ago, not picking lesser to evil and sitting it out, that was okay. Because back then, the Republican Party wasn't crazy. You mean with Nixon? Is that what you're talking about? With Richard Nixon, they wasn't crazy? In the Vietnam War? That's 50 years ago. In 2016, many people knew Trump was out of his guard. I think that's how you say that. But they disliked Hillary so much they decided to sit on their hands and vote for the Green Party candidate, Jill Stein, rather than vote for what they describe as the lesser of two evil. And look what we got. What do we get? What do we get from a Donald Trump presidency that we're not getting from a Biden presidency? And what are we getting from a Biden presidency that we wouldn't get from a Trump presidency? Try competency at being an imperialist, being more effective at being a neoliberal, being more effective at being a fascist. If Trump gets back into the Oval Office, it's likely to be even worse this time. It's so weird the way they talk about this, the two administrations, when people literally in polls are saying the Trump administration, that time was a better time. The polls are saying this, Robert. But this is the establishment progressive puppet coming out to parrot the establishment lines of don't go third party and don't sit at home, come vote for Genocide Joe. You hear all of the things, all the atrocities that happen in Gaza at the hands of the state of Israel, and you heard Fareed, even this establishment tool named Fareed, come out and say this has been terrible. Terrible atrocities have been happening, and because of that, you have people like this person who wrote this article, and the headline is, "I am done voting for the lesser of two evils. I will not vote for Joe Biden in 2024." I'm going to read just a snippet. I don't see how any Muslim or Arab can vote for a man who would rather kill 1 million Palestinian children than get sideways with pro-Israel lobbying groups like the American AIPAC. So already starting out pretty based. So let me read on here, and it goes on to say, and if Muslims and Arabs stay home on election day and Trump wins, Democrats will have only themselves to blame. Biden has made himself toxic to key constituents that had previously been guaranteed votes for him. And I must say, the article is saying Arab and Muslim, but it's young people, it's progressives, and it's people of color. Check the numbers. If Democrats are serious about defeating Donald Trump in 2024, they need a new candidate, and fast. That candidate cannot be Vice President Kamala Harris or anyone else who holds a leadership position in this pro-genocide administration. So don't bring me no damn Mayor Pete. Don't bring me no damn Gavin Newsom. No Hakeem Jeffries. That's what this person who wrote this article. And he goes on to say the administration appears to no longer have the support of a large swath of Muslim and Arab Americans. And I must say, progressive young people and people of color. And frankly, I can only assume Biden doesn't want our vote. After all, he is telling us clearly that he doesn't think Palestinians, Arabs, and Muslims are fully human. And only humans vote in elections. Love that. So you want to dehumanize us as subhumans? Well, only humans can vote. So I guess your dehumanization is what is the barrier from allowing some people to vote. And I love how they make that point.